Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to today's Eid show with me, Nusayba Mohammed Timur. You may recognize me as I'm no stranger to TV1, but usually I'm sat in where the guests are sat today. But today is the first time I'm here in the hosting seat, so please go easy on me. But I'm super excited to have my 4 friends with me here today. 4 incredibly talented and very well-known women who have been an inspiration in their own right to many young people in the Bangladeshi and Muslim community. In today's show, we'll be getting to know them a little bit more, and hopefully they share a few tips and tricks for all our viewers, particularly all the young ladies watching today. So let's get right into it. On my right here, I have Mumtaz Begum Hussain. Mumtaz is an author and the queen of colour. So Mumtaz, please give us a little summary of what you do and about you.
Well, firstly, Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak.
Thanks for having me on the Eid special. It's a real pleasure to be here. So I'm Mumtaz, and originally, as a child, I'd always loved writing. So I knew very early on that I want to be a journalist. It's the only thing I ever wanted to do. And I started writing when I was very young. I've still got my diaries from when I was 7. So I've continued writing my whole life pretty much. But as I started growing up, I trained as a journalist. I have a massive passion for the arts and crafts. So worked quite a lot in the craft world too. But then as time went on, I kind of combined all my passions. Colour is a big passion of mine. So I've kind of parked journalism, and these days I'm a colour expert.
Excellent, thank you so much. Kaniz Ali, we've got Kaniz Ali here. She's a celebrity makeup artist and an international beauty editor. Kaniz, tell us a little bit, very short summary about who you are.
Yeah, you said it all really. So I'm a makeup artist, I travel the world. I am based in the UK, and I have been a makeup artist for 12 years now.
Excellent.
And I'm also the beauty editor, the international beauty editor for ADHA International, which is out in 16 different countries.
Amazing, thank you so much. We'll move on to Halima Begum. Halima is a photographer and founder and director for WAGS. Tell us a little bit about you.
Assalamu alaikum and Eid Mubarak. Yeah, I'm Halima, photographer, fashion and beauty and product, and yeah, based in London.
And finally, we have the amazing Salwa Rahman. Salwa is a multidisciplinary creative artist. Salwa, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum everyone, Eid Mubarak also. Yeah, I'm a multidisciplinary creative, and what that basically means is I don't really have one title in the creative world. I don't think any creative is ever a single thing anyway.
Yeah.
But it varies a lot. I work a lot in the beauty industry, but it's more about breaking down the barriers of what it is to be beautiful, what the beauty standard is right now, and how we can make it a bit more fun, make makeup a bit more fun, a bit more playful. And yeah, my work is basically in the community, really.
Amazing, thank you so much. As you can see, we have 4 incredibly amazing ladies here. What we'll do is, because it's the Eid show, I'm sure you'll want to know what Eid looks like in their household or for them. So tell me, please, I'll start with Halima.
Okay.
If you can tell me what a day in Eid day, a typical Eid day is for you.
A typical Eid day. So, typical Eid day changes. It does vary. We have we celebrate in a few different households, and since my father passed away, God Allah yarhamu, last year, this is our second Eid without him, but we've kept it alive and kept Eid really fun. So it always starts with someone else's house. So this Eid was at my older sister's house in Wales. Yeah, and you know, you wake up, you kind of like wash, dress, prayers, and spend the whole day with the family.
Excellent. So you were in Wales this Eid?
I was in Wales and I was in London.
Amazing.
So we did the first half in Wales, yeah, and then the second half in London. Yeah.
That's interesting. It starts at different houses.
Yeah.
Salwa, what's a typical Eid day for you?
again, I don't think like Eid is usually like separated into multiple households because everyone's got to be seen. But usually what tends to happen is we all wake up very early because my dad and my brother need to go to prayer, to Eid prayers. And while that happens, my mum will make nasta, which is, you know, like
Breakfast,
the
yeah.
breakfast, but technically it's not breakfast foods at all. It's all fried and like everything.
You're allowed everything.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So she preps nasta, and then we sort of just wait for them to get back, have like kind of a lazy morning, and then then my sister's family will come over. We'll have nasta, chill a little bit, and then head over to my nan's house where lunch happens. It's all like basically like scheduled on food, and how we do like our food schedule. So breakfast is at ours, my nan's house is lunch, and then depending on how we're feeling, we'll take a trip to Luton to see my dad's side to have dinner. So we're just doing a little road trip.
And it's rotating around food all the time. What about you, Mumtaz? How does Eid look like?
Well, I think my Eid's probably quite different because I have a very small family, so we don't really have anyone's house to go to. But definitely lots of food, lots of new clothes, and much as possible, just having a day off, work, which is always
super
appreciated.
chilled and relaxing. And yourself, Kenise?
It's the same as these guys as well. But for me, in my house, I'm usually the last one to get up. Usually everyone's calling me, going, come on, it's Eid. So my cousin is like usually calling me, and then she comes and wakes me up, believe it or not. So she'll come over, and all my siblings are up, everyone's getting ready, and everybody comes over to ours. And I have uncles and aunties who live nearby. My dad's family lives nearby, so it's
Do you
really
have a big
nice.
family?
We do, yeah. My dad's side is really big. And so is my mum's, but my mum's is based in Bangladesh in America.
Okay.
So my uncle and auntie, my dad's brother and sister, they live nearby, so we're always nieces, cousins,
I love that you have to have your cousin to come wake you up. You're like, no, nobody's
like,
disturbing me.
She's not going to, I'm like, it's Eid day, guys. Like, you know.
Chill.
It's the one day.
And I'm the last one to get into the shower, the last one to get ready. My nieces come over, they're like, come on, Khala, you need to like put your makeup on, get ready, you know.
It's the complete opposite for me, actually. Like, after I got married, my in-laws, they go to the first prayer, so like the 5:30, and usually Eid night you don't really sleep. So when it's like this coming Eid, actually this Eid that's gone, I actually didn't get any sleep, and it hit 5:30, and I was like, oh no, why? But before I got married, we were a house with just girls, so me and my sisters used to be like that. We would just take time and go to the last Eid prayer all dressed up. But so thank you so much for sharing what Eid looks like for you. And we are live, so I know that we have a few callers. You are welcome to call and share what Eid looks like for you and what you've got up to, or if you have any questions for my guests here today. I'm sure all of our viewers really enjoyed this. What I'll do now, given that this week is filled with celebrations, and not long ago on Monday the restrictions were lifted, so we are all partying, and it's filled with celebrations and everyone's so excited. I thought it would be quite nice to do a quick fire Eid game with my guests. Okay, so I'll put you in teams. Mumtaz and Kenise, you're in one team, and Salwa and Halima, you're in one team. So what it is you've got like 20 seconds. Whichever team guesses the most questions obviously wins. What you get a treat after. You get dinner. So I'm going to give you like this and that, and you choose, and you don't have to answer the same thing. Okay, so we'll start with Mumtaz and Kenise. Okay, so it's an Eid edition. All right, are we ready?
I don't know. I don't know. Go on.
You don't know. Okay.
Hit us with it.
Puri with halwa or puri with chana?
Ooh,
Puri with chana.
So hard. I love both.
Okay, both.
Halwa.
Wear your Eid dress before Eid prayer or after Eid prayer?
After Eid prayer.
After.
Samosa or handesh?
Samosa.
Oh yeah.
Handesh.
Eid money or Eid gifts?
Both. We have both.
She's like,
I like gifts,
maybe the money.
surprises.
Okay. Spending Eid with family or friends?
Oh, that's a hard one. My family's watching this. Family, guys. Family, guys. Family.
I actually like spending it with friends.
Okay. I love the honesty. Full English breakfast or full Desi breakfast?
Desi, hands down.
Desi. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, Salwa and Halima.
Yeah.
Sari or shalwar kameez?
Oh,
Kameez.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm
Heels or
quick on
flats?
Heels.
Oh no, flats.
Heels.
Heels.
Okay. Sweet or savoury?
Sweet.
Savoury.
Eid Instagram post, do you prefer Eid photo or video?
Photo.
Eid decor, maximalist or minimalist?
Maximalist.
Oh. Eid prayer, are you the first one or the last one?
Last.
Because of my family though,
Okay.
not by
Yeah.
choice.
All your fault. Okay. So you two had very lot of things
Told
in
you we're
similar.
connected.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So I hope you joined us in that game and you got to know my guests a little bit more. It's actually interesting. I'd definitely go for samosa over handesh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say the same.
I don't know actually. No,
Halima was like handesh all the way.
Oh,
Especially the way
yeah.
my mum and my
Homemade.
sister makes it.
I need to try your
Yeah,
handesh.
You
got
have
some
to.
We
over.
don't do handesh in
No,
the house, so
oh.
like
I have to. Mum, if you're watching.
Yeah, Mum, if you're watching,
We need to
please
get
send
her
me some
handesh.
handesh. Yeah. Okay, so on a little bit more serious note, we are all creatives here, and we all work in the creative industry. So, but in various capacities, as you all heard. I wanted to ask, this is a little bit. It's very interesting. I wanted to ask. Have you ever felt, or do you feel, that the Bangladeshi or Muslim community don't accept that your job or career in a creative field is a serious or real job?
Yes.
Okay. Salma was very quick to answer that. And have you ever heard someone say, what is your actual job? Okay. Or have you had a completely different experience? I'd love to know and hear your individual perspective. So we'll start with Mumtaz.
Well, I've been a creative from day one, and I think I've been very lucky. My parents have always been very supportive of education, but they were never what type of education. So it was never, you've got to be a doctor or a lawyer. It was just, I'm from a family of 4 sisters, so it's very much instilled to us to get independence.
Yeah.
So just support yourself, make your own money, and don't rely on anybody else. So that was more the way I grew up. And actually, all of us took like Saturday jobs at the age of like 15, 16 to sort of get out there and make money. And so actually, I think the work ethic has always been strong. And when I told my parents at the age of like 14, I want to be a journalist, I remember going to parents' evening. And my dad said to my tutor, yeah, she wants to be a journalist. And he was so proud. And I was like, this is great.
That's
so
amazing, yeah.
actually, I just followed that path. And, being able to show him articles that I've written with my name on. When my first book came out, he was in hospital. And I remember him just telling all the nurses, look, my daughter's got a book, my daughter's got a book. So actually, the pride that parents have, they might, I think, sometimes mask it as being something else, but really they are proud of the things that we do, and that's the most important thing. The rest of the community, I remember when I was younger, my dad often asked his friends, should I let Mumtaz do this? Should I let her do these things? And often they would say no. But, I think he just knew, actually, I will let her. But I guess in a way, I liked the way that he did ask wider community for things, just to get the perspective. But no, I'm pleased. I've always followed my own path, and
your
that's
parents,
why,
it's incredible that your parents have been supportive. It makes a huge difference, and it's difficult in our community to kind of stand up to the community. And like you said, your father asked for his friend's opinion and so on. But as long as you were happy and he was supportive towards you, that's the most important thing. Salwa, how was your experience? And
I think mine's a little bit more different. So I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm one of the youngest, if not the youngest, on this panel.
Okay.
Which is, it's interesting to hear your experience, because you'd expect with maybe like older generations they'll be a bit more conservative, but maybe my parents or my family is a little bit different. But essentially, I grew up, and from a young age I wanted to be a solicitor.
Ooh.
That was my life calling.
Yeah.
And then mid-uni I had a crisis. So I've always been creative, but my feet, like, well, I basically had one foot in each world. So one foot in the academic, which my parents strongly encouraged, and you know, they hands down like push all of me and my older sister and my younger brother into education, into learning, into knowledge, which I really appreciate. But then I always had this other foot into like exploring, being curious, being rebellious, being sort of just like a bit of a rule breaker, trying to figure things out. So I got to uni, and then, you know, I distinctly remember being at a networking event for a law firm, quite a big law firm, and I had sort of this out-of-body moment where I was like listening to everybody's conversations all at once, and it all just sounded the same. And I was like, oh, hold on a second, this is not, like, I don't like this. I don't like the conversations that people are having. I don't really like, you know, all of that sort of stuff. Like, I didn't see myself fitting there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave. Finished my degree, alhamdulillah, because I do still value my degree, and I still like love law. And then kind of fell into, did this like extended gap year where I was like, okay, I'm gonna be creative. But I didn't know what creative was at the time, and this is the point, right? Is like, I think, like, if we're gonna use like the Bengali Muslim community, I think we all have creatives, but we don't know how to harness that creativity, because there's none of that exposure, right? You can't, like, what is it, to see it, to be it kind of situation. So I was kind of like in this space where I was like, I want to do something different. I don't really know what I'm doing. And so since then, and this was like 2017, I've like dabbled into loads of different things. And that's where the multidisciplinary comes from, where it's like, I didn't just be like, okay, I want to be a makeup artist. Like that, I do that as one path, but then I want to explore photography, I want to explore creative direction, I want to explore teaching, I want to explore. So with that being said, sorry.
That's all right, no.
With that being said, that's the part I don't think my parents enjoyed, because they want stability, they want security, they come from a survivalist
what about
almost
from
mentality.
Not just your family, from like the external community? How
I
has that
mean,
been?
I think it's that thing of like, and it's the second question that you asked when you go to like extended family events, and they're like, so what does your daughter do? You know, and my mom's just like,
I don't know, ask her.
she doesn't, I don't know, like, do you know what I mean? And it's that like hesitation in response that I think causes a bit of like, oh, you should do something, because then I can label you and I can sell you to something, or I can sell you to the family, you know? And unfortunately, I have been called unbrandable.
Oh, wow.
So I live for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically where the most friction comes from. It's just they don't really know. They know, alhamdulillah, like when I get paid for stuff, when I start getting paid for stuff, when they can add a monetary value to it, it makes it better, because it's like, okay, you're getting money, okay, you're able to be independent and fend for yourself.
It's really interesting that you have such a contrasting experience, but and that's why it's so nice to have you know, all of you here, because it's really important to know that, you know, different families, it's not necessarily like religion or how it should be, but it's mainly like households or just your community. What about you, Kenise?
Mine is similar to Salma's story. So I remember I came from a background in law as well, and I worked for an international law firm. So I was actually, so it's quite similar.
It's really interesting that you say that, because I know lots of lawyer friends that got into the creative industry, like photography or something to do with fashion, and it's interesting that happens in law. So if any lawyers are watching, I don't know what's happening there, but yeah.
So then what happened, I got spotted by lots of people in the industry, and I've always had a love for makeup, but because I was never encouraged about the field from a young age, so you don't believe it can be a career. So I do it on the side, so people would always ask me to do their makeup from like sixth form days in university and all these kind of times, and then somebody said, hey, you're so good, why don't you make it a career? And you're like, really? Like, you can make a career out of this, you know? And so one day I remember telling my parents, especially my dad, and I remember my dad was devastated. He was just like, what? So he
makeup.
Yeah, like he just didn't understand. He wasn't against it. He just didn't understand the concept as to like, you know, you're applying makeup. Like, what do you mean you want to make this as a career? So eventually I left the law firm, and I was quite stubborn and, you know, strong-minded. I was probably still am. But I was like, right, Dad, I'm going to prove that, you know, this can be a career. So he was never against it. I wouldn't say against it.
But he wasn't exposed to it.
No,
he, you know, like you were mentioning.
Bit hesitant, basically.
Yeah, he was a bit like, okay, maybe my daughter's just going through a phase because she's always loved makeup.
Yeah.
So he just assumed, okay, in a year or two she'll just give it up. And then when you start, you know, having editorials with your name on it, you know, and just awards and things like that, and you come home and he's like, oh, okay, and then he's thinking, okay, I don't want to congratulate her because that's like really encouraging this career, and she's really not going back to law. And my mum was very supportive. She's just like, okay, do whatever you want to do, but just can you please be at home a little bit more? She's thinking, okay, brilliant, like you're only going to do a few hours a day, not realising there's so much more to the makeup industry. So as years went on, and alhamdulillah, as I started doing more and more, my dad just accepted it. And I think in terms of the world, I think now it's very accepted, and you know, because of the generation we live in, the time we live in, you know, that time. But I think 13 years ago, it was very much like, it's like a makeup artist. Is that even a job? You know, like you paint faces for a living. It was very much like, oh, okay. But yeah, I didn't have anything negative. It was almost like.
But it was a challenge.
Yeah, it was very challenging
at every step.
I have to say it was a challenging.
What about you, Halima? Your photography, so completely different.
I can relate to Mumtaz. My family supported me from the get-go. My parents actually invested in my first camera. So prior to photography, I was always in fashion. I was doing point of sale visual merchandising and styling. So I've never had a problem. And then when I did want to venture into photography about 10 years ago now, I think it is, my parents invested in my first camera, which I repaid. I paid them back. My father always encouraged it. He was always really proud. It's funny because he said to me, I just don't want you doing weddings. And I was like, snap, Dad, because I don't like doing weddings.
Get disrespected in weddings.
I don't know what it is. I'm not sure why he didn't want me.
Nobody listens to photographers at the wedding, isn't it?
Well, I've
done
two.
Stressful.
No, I've done two, and
were they white weddings?
No,
come off
they
the
were
stage.
Asian weddings. It was okay. I just don't. It's not my thing. I just really enjoy fashion and beauty. I think with the community, they always said, oh, you do weddings, oh, can we get your no, don't do weddings. So what do you do? Oh, fashion and beauty. Oh. You know, the question mark. But my father and my mother have had so much confidence in me that I didn't ever doubt it. So
But it's interesting because you actually studied you know, fashion and merchandise and visual merchandise, so it was slightly different, whereas like for you and for yourself, it's interesting for both Mumtaz and Halima, you have the similar experience because you actually did it from a younger age, and you know, you actually went into that, studied it, and you had a better experience. But for those, I mean, I've had a similar experience. Actually, mine's mixed. Mine's, I would say, is a mixture. But I also studied to do dentistry. I know. So going from that to getting into the fashion and creative industry was like, something must have happened. Like, are you, you know, what happened? Is it like the friend circle, or is it, so something must have happened. I think the community was the community that I found really difficult. But my parents have been very supportive. So I think it's really important to get that support from your parents, but also till today I don't feel like the people closest understand what I do.
And
I always feel like whenever I go to like any dawat or something like that, it's still like,
there's a bit of
even if you have done the most incredible thing, and even if you've actually like showcased what the work you've done, and if it's for the community and stuff, it's still been quite challenging. But yeah, so let us know. Let us know how you, if you are in the creative industry, how you feel, or if you want to get into the creative industry, message us. Let us know how you're feeling, and if you've had any experience similar to any of us, or if you want to ask any questions of advice from my guests, please do let us know. I have I think 30 seconds before we go into break, and I just wanted to wrap it up. You know, it's interesting. People get a little bit scared about the creative industry because we're always like, oh, it's challenging. But one thing you mentioned was rebellious, and I've heard the term rebellious quite a lot from people in our community. If you do anything creative, it's almost looked at as rebellious, and I just feel like, oh, that's interesting, but I don't like the term because it feels like we're doing things that aren't seen as like normal or correct, or you know, something nice. We're just like rebels. But yeah, so let us know how you feel, if you have heard the term rebellious in your workspace, or I've had a lot of young females let us know that they really want to get into the creative industry, and that's really interesting because the younger generation now are a lot more exposed to creativity and they really want to get into it, but I feel like they still don't know the real challenges within the industry because it's just on social media or things like that. But it's really nice to know that young girls are letting us know, calling in, letting us know that you are looking forward to getting involved in the creative industry. We will talk a little bit more, but we're just going to go into break shortly. As you can tell, this is my first time hosting, so I'm trying to work the earpiece.
Excellent job. Excellent
I'm trying
job.
to work the earpiece, so yeah, and the countdown's not my thing. It's very distracting, but I'll be honest, that's all you can do. So I don't want to get into my next question because I'll probably get cut off. But before we go off, is there anything you wanted to add that you felt like you didn't get to in my last question?
I'm good.
I do think though in the Bengali, in a Bangladeshi, in our culture in itself is very creative.
Me too, yeah.
Colours
Oh my God,
everything,
no.
like
Yeah.
from
We're
dance
hiding
to
in the
everything.
cracks,
Yeah.
is what it is. Honestly, you'll find us everywhere, but it's just
Yeah.
we're hidden.
Yeah.
And we just need to put a spotlight on all of us.
Yeah.
And that's literally what it is.
That's how I feel with the oh, okay, so we're going to go to a break right now.
We'll pick it up after.
Welcome back to the Eid show with me, Nusayba Mohammed Timol, and my incredible guests, Mumtaz, Kaniz, Salwa and Halima. Before we left, we just started a really interesting conversation about creative, the Bangladeshi community and Bengalis being very creative. I will pass it on to Halima. What were we talking about?
Just our culture and how much creativity lies in it when it comes to, as you were saying, food and the fashion in itself and the music and the, where do you even begin? Just even the land, how beautiful it is, the culture in itself, it's all relative, it's all fashionable.
The textiles.
Everything.
The
I mean, the
prints,
textiles, our saris, you know, the cotton saris that we wear, that we're known for, is just huge. And if you look at imagery from many, many years ago, and how the women would drape themselves, the jewelry, henna, all of those different types of things. I mean, I know it exists in different countries, but for us in ourselves, the creativity from our country alone is just, it just goes on and on and on.
And I think the food is one thing that I find really incredible in the Bangladeshi community, because we have a bit of everything. You know, we have like the bhortas, we have the pitas, which many cultures don't have. We have the fish, the biryanis, the kachi biryani, everything, like you name it. We are known for food. But it's a shame that a lot of people don't know what the Bangladeshi cuisine is and don't know what Bangladeshi culture looks like. And it is kind of our responsibility to, especially in this country, to hold on to it and to expose it and to share it with people who have not seen it before. What do you think about that?
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Just coming into our language in itself.
Yeah, our language, yeah.
I agree with all of that. I think that when you're Bangladeshi diaspora, you have to do things that tie you back to the motherland, tie you back to your culture, to your roots, because that is an inherent part of your identity. But that being said, I do think that you also need to infuse it with that creativity is about innovation, right? It's about seeing things outside of the box, and it's about just shaking things up a little bit. And I think that that's the you know, the balance that we now need to find. And I think we are finding it as people and as creatives and as, you know.
I would just like to add, because my last trip to Dhaka, I didn't tell any family I was going to
Bangladesh. You don't tell them.
So I went to go meet friends out there, and my entire trip was creative-led. I hung out with photographers, artists, fashion designers, got to go to some villages and learn some weaving. Actually went to see rickshaws being made, like all the rickshaw painting, beautiful folk arts. And you know, there's a massive scene in Dhaka, a massive scene of young people being very creative. But I think British Bangladeshis, we don't often get exposed to that. Some of the things that I saw in like the shops, like designer gallery shops, are so stunning. And I just think, you know, there's a bit of like an aesthetic. People used to know that sort of Aurong aesthetic, traditional sort of homemade. But, you know, we don't have any shops in the whole of the UK, physical shops that we can walk into and buy these things. We actually have to physically go to Bangladesh to see them. But what is really exciting for me is that it fully exists. You know, it's there. Really, really exciting young people doing amazing things.
We just have to bring it here.
Love
accessibility.
I'd love us to recognise that more. And I would also encourage anyone going to Bangladesh, please seek out these art galleries, please seek out the artists, go and see what they're doing, go to some of these like independent shops that exist. You'll be absolutely amazed, and it'll make you realise how creative this country is. And you know, I think that a lot of young Bangladeshis in Bangladesh are fighting hard to be seen, and things like social media is helping them. That's how we can see what's going on. But we have to also make an effort. We need to support. You know, we can actually now, we can go online and we can buy Bangladeshi fashion made by young designers. You know, people have associated the fast fashion scene in Bangladesh for so long, too long. But we know there are ethical fashion designers there making incredible things. And, you know, I think it's our responsibility to go and buy that stuff and wear it here and talk about it and say, hey, I'm wearing a Bangladeshi designer, and sort of get that conversation going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree. I think that was one of my frustrations. When I went to Bangladesh, I was like, and I usually stay at Dhaka. My family's from Gulshan, and the experience I've had just didn't match with what people were saying here. And it was really difficult for me to explain. I was like, no, I absolutely love going to Bangladesh. I absolutely love my time there. And it's quite sad that I haven't been for a while because I don't have that much family there. The only people I had was my grandparents. And after my nana passed away, my nana came here, and we would all meet as a family, international family, we'd all meet at Bangladesh, and I really miss everything that we experienced there. And they're really advanced. They're very up to date with everything. They, like you're saying, they're innovating things. And social media does really help to put their work out, but it still isn't, you know, known everywhere. So I totally agree that we need to all experience. So if you haven't been Bangladesh, I know it's really difficult now with the pandemic, but you should definitely experience, like Mumtaz said, you know, just don't go to like the relative's house, but actually go out and experience that. Yeah, it's really difficult. It's really difficult.
In the UK, you can go to Bengali restaurants, really support Bengali restaurants, because the fish that we cook and the amount of like different types of fish curries we have, I think it's like incredible.
Yeah.
You know, I don't find any other culture has it the way we have it, the amount of different types that we have, and the way we cook it really as well.
Or even one thing that was really interesting is, you know, we have like a begun porta, and I remember watching like MasterChef in Australia, and the Bengali lady Kishore, she actually did the begun porta, and the chefs, the other chefs, they were like, wow, this is so incredible. And I was like,
my mum makes
this
this.
is exactly this is what we have all the time, or like how we have mashed potato, but our version, you know, like I was like, forget your mashed potato, trust me, if you have a Bangladeshi mashed potato, it will just blow your mind. So I think, like you said, it's really important, and I do see it a lot now. A lot more young Bangladeshis are, you know, they're proud of where they come from. They you know, even, you know, I see a lot of like Muslims as well. They're very proud of their religion, and we're slowly getting there, and I just hope that we continue. And I think it's really this whole diversity, and you know, the other mainstream channels, kind of, and even like TV1 bringing people like us and involving us, and not just keeping these avenues for like the older generation, is really helping the next generation connect. You know, so because I myself wouldn't watch certain channels, because you're always seeing like the older generation and the same type of things, but you know, having people like us here is really important. But yeah, so I want to, on that note, I want to quickly move on to working in the creative industry. We all have, like, every day looks kind of different, and it's filled with a lot of exciting things, hopefully. What has been your most notable highlight, Halima?
Notable highlight would be being featured in a good few publications, but I think the print, when we were featured in Vogue Arabia, that I would say would be quite a big highlight, because we did a 15-day trip to Morocco to shoot quite a few brands out there, and one of the swimwear brands that we shot was featured in the magazine, and I think we have like 5 different copies of the magazine.
Yeah, you have to.
Just so that we can, because we're just opening up a studio now.
Amazing.
Inshallah, so that will be just hanging on the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. When was this?
This was just before the pandemic, so 2019, 20?
Yeah, we don't even know what year it is.
I can't even remember. 19.
Yeah, after the pandemic, we're like, what year is it? What day is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. Yeah, you definitely need to hang that up.
Yeah.
And a trip, 15-day trip.
Oh yeah, that was intense.
I was going to say that sounds incredible as well.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was Morocco,
The heat.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Work, but nice work.
Yeah. I mean, most of the travels that I've done over the past few years, I would say, apart from maybe about a handful, if that, has been for work. Indonesia, Turkey, Middle East. Yeah, it's been
That's I mean, there's nothing better than your work taking you to, like, you know, different countries, and then also like learning different cultures.
Of course,
I mean, we all want to travel, and this is the most incredible way. You know, enjoying what you do, earning, and you're traveling. Yeah.
I just think Bangladesh it's just there, waiting to be explored.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
And what about you, Kenise? What would be your notable highlight?
You know what?
Too many. Kenise is like, I have far too many.
I think for me it has to be, there's a few, but I'd probably say hitting 25 front covers, and in the last 10 covers I was able to not only make up the Bollywood celebrities, but I was also able to style Karina and creatively direct the whole shoot for the covers.
Kareena Kapoor
and Sonam Kapoor, and then Amy Jackson, and the last 10 covers, so I could like actually direct it. And I was
so
like,
you weren't just doing makeup, but you directed.
I was directing and styling.
That's incredible.
Them, so it was really, really nice. And I think in terms of family, saying to my dad, I've hit 12 years in the industry, Dad.
Aww.
So we have this laugh, is it running joke in the home. So yeah, I think that would probably be for me. It's it doesn't feel like it's been 12 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so it almost feels like I'm hitting my, you know, year 3, year 4. So yeah,
because
alhamdulillah,
you know, like I said, not every day seems the same.
No, every day is different.
Every day is different, and that's the beauty of working in the creative industry. You know, every day's different. You don't know what's coming, and sometimes you have lots of things going on, sometimes not. But it is exciting, and you just have to keep going. And you styled Kareena Kapoor, and yeah, that's incredible. What about yourself, Mumtaz?
Yeah, I definitely say I've had lots of highlights. I am self-employed. I've been self-employed for most of my career. And when you're self-employed, you have to put yourself out there. You cannot be some wallflower waiting for people to find you. Every part of your success relies on you marketing yourself.
I get that.
And you know, I would say I like to be current, so I don't look back too much. I keep going for the next good thing. And when the pandemic hit last year, and obviously a lot of my work had come to an end, and I was thinking, what can I do with my time? And I just thought, okay, I want to write a book. So I came up with an idea for a book, and I actually pitched it to a publisher, and actually for a publisher to turn around and read the pitch and be like, yes, we'd like to do this. I mean, it's it's a major thing, because you have this vision, it's your vision, it's your idea, and when someone else believes in it, it's, you know, it's an amazing thing. So you know, my next book, it's about colour, a book about colour and well-being. It's going to come out in November. But I've literally spent the last year, sort of pandemic year, doing this, and so I'm really excited about this publication coming out. And
when is it coming out?
November the 9th. So
November the 9th.
It is available to pre-order at the minute. But you know, I'm just excited about. I've achieved something. This is my achievement, and no one can take that away. It's like I fully did this all myself. So you know, all of us have these little things we've done ourselves. They can be really small, or they can be big. It doesn't matter. But I think
for you,
just for us, we know the things that we've achieved. We don't talk about a lot of them. I know we're just saying to Kenise, because I've known Kenise a long time, and she's done a huge amount of things. She just picks up on a few of them. But we have to let people know. You know, if we don't share our stories, people will continue to think, oh, Bangladeshi women, they're just housewives. So we have to be like, no, we do this, this, and we have to keep telling people and make ourselves heard. It's so, so important.
And it's you know, it's so nice, because where I've known Mumtaz for so long, I literally turn to Mumtaz and I'm like, because you forget, you do those moments and you're on to the next thing. And then Mumtaz is reminding me, okay, you need to speak out this and this and this. And I'm like, oh okay. She's like, push them out, like, you know, speak about them. And it's just one of those things you just don't speak about after it's done,
It's true, I used to, that's the thing, like you mentioned, you know, I used to shy away from speaking or telling people, and whenever someone would ask me, and I'm a bit like you, like now I've finally come to the conclusion that I'm a multidisciplinary artist, because I was like, oh, I do Quran, oh no, but then I run a school, oh no, I do, like I didn't know, and I always felt shy, and I felt like, oh, I'm just kind of showing off too much, or if I speak more than one thing, it would be showing off. But it's like, it's been challenging, it's been difficult, and if you don't speak about those things, and if you don't speak about your journey, how do you inspire the next generation, and how do you actually give them an insight to what it is like to be a journalist?
Exactly. And the thing is, no one else is going to report our stories for us.
Exactly.
So, you know, we have to archive ourselves, that in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, people will see what we did. We won't be forgotten. And it's important that we're not, because it's all about the next generation. Every single young person has to feel that they can do these things, and role models are so important in every field, and especially creative field.
Absolutely.
So much.
Your highlight?
I mean, after these three, I don't know what to say. No, honestly, like, I think one of my highlights, again, sort of same with Halima, like being published in print and on like online publications. It's like one of the publications is a magazine called Hunger, and I got chosen as like one of their up and coming like artists to watch, and I got to like creative direct and style and do like beauty direction, and you know what I mean, I got to control a whole like scene.
There's nothing more exciting than having like the free rein to do it all and choose your own team and everything.
But more importantly, I think, and I know this is going to sound so lame, but it's really not. But it's just like, it's more so the connections I've made. Like, that's my highlight in this journey of like trying to be me. You can see that in turn, that's like sparked other people to be themselves also. And it's the conversations that I've been having with, again, like loads of different people about makeup, about being Bengali, about being Muslim, about how to present themselves, and like being able to kind of be that, to be able to be that sort of, you know, bit of a guide, bit of a helping hand, a welcome hand.
Even if it's in the smallest way.
Even if it's in the smallest way, man. Honestly, like that's been one of my highlights. Like to get that feedback back, you know, and to receive that love back has been absolutely wonderful, and I'm super grateful for it.
No, that's amazing. You've all had incredible journeys, and like I know it's so difficult to just choose one highlight, but you've done amazing. I was going to say, so if what you've mentioned that in the next couple of months, in November 9th, your book is coming out, but for the rest of you, in the next couple of months, what do we have to look forward to? Do you have any upcoming projects that you're really excited about or not, you know, next year? Do you have anything that you are looking forward to, or we have to look forward to, Halima?
I think our studio opening, inshallah. So that's going to be happening. It's been slow, but it's based in East London, so it's in Star Lane, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be able to do a lot more projects. It's going to be available to hire out. It's just super exciting.
And you're busy doing DIY and everything?
I'm not doing much of that personally. I'm good at going in and saying that needs fixing. But apart from that, it's 98% done. It's just
amazing.
that 2% of me being fussy with things.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's your studio though, it's your baby. You know,
that's also
a
thing we've got with creative people. We just sometimes we're just too much of perfectionists.
But I feel like I'm pouring my entire life into this. My life, my love, my everything. Like, you know, and I just have to have it to be to the standard that I would want to walk into and be like, oh, this is the studio that I want to work into. Yeah,
I did this.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. Amazing. What about you? What do we have to look forward to?
Oh no.
Really short. We've only got a few minutes.
How do you know I've got lots of things? No, I've got. I'm a publisher of Surah Book 1 and 2, so I'm working on Book 3. Okay. So that's going to be really, really interesting because I know a lot of people have pushed me to do that one, and that's going to be nice. That's out at the end of the year, and I'm working on the next magazine cover. So that's going to be really interesting in terms of who's on the cover. So,
amazing. You can tell us after. And what about you, Salwa?
I have a good bunch of ideas that, inshallah, like I want to bring to fruition. I recently got some funding, so hopefully you guys will be seeing me do more like video stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
She's like, pat myself, but
yeah, a whole bunch of stuff, inshallah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to it, but I'll definitely find out from you guys a little bit more. We can't spill out all the secrets, but if you were to give any advice to the next generation who want to get into the creative industry, what would you say to them? Really short. Kenise?
I would say, look, it's not easy, it's tough. Right, but that's life. Life's tough, so don't give up when you face obstacles. You know, you're going to have a bad day, but it's going to follow with a good day.
Excellent, lovely. And what about you,
And I would
Montaz?
say creative industry is a career. You can make money, and you've got to approach it with a business mind, not a creative hobby. It's not a hobby, it is a profession.
I love
And for
that.
those who are working for themselves, what would be one thing that you would say to them?
Never lower your prices. Like, you've really got to. You're a professional, you've got your
Yeah.
skills, no one else has your skills, you charge what you charge. And
Yeah.
don't let people say...
Yeah, you go, girl. Love that. What about you, Halima?
Do it. Just do it.
Do it.
You know, just
Yeah.
get up and do it, because I think a lot of people have doubts. A lot of young people, can I do it? I don't know. I don't know anyone. You don't need to know
I'm
anyone.
not good enough.
Yeah, I'm not good enough. It's a lot of doubt, a lot of what's happening in here and not what's out
Yeah.
there. So just do it,
Okay.
because you know you won't know until you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, Salwa.
Mine would be find your community. So as well as the doubt, being creative can be really isolating, especially if your family might not accept you. So find your chosen family. There are other people who are going to be twin flames to you who are also creative. So just vocalize your stress, vocalize your ideas, and trust me, it'll be like a magnet. Someone will find it cool, and they'll come and they'll want to do something with you, and you won't be alone anymore.
That's a really good piece of advice, and something I've just kind of learnt this year for myself. But yeah, so thank you so much to my incredible guests. There's so many things that we can talk about, and I have a whole load of things. And I purposely didn't like take any calls or anything because we can't do this. And yeah, okay, so but hopefully you all enjoyed it, and thank you so much to Kaniz, Mumtaz, Halima and Salwa for being here with us today. And from myself, Nusayba, Eid Mubarak, and we will see you soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.